Begin with a not so peaceful final resting place in De Pere. Decades of rain runoff from the top of the Greenwood Cemetery's hill have led to erosion and deterioration right along the Fox River. State Representative John Mocco recently helped secure $1 million of the $2.5 million needed for restoration. And now it's up to the community to finish raising the needed monies to help shore up that cemetery. Our reporter Emily Riley joins us now. She's been working on the story. You were out there today. So what did you see?
Right, when I was out there today, I mean, this has been an issue that has been going on for over a decade. So when I was out at the cemetery, you go right by the edge, right where the shoreline is. And
yeah, we have that video. Here we go.
And it kind of, as you can see it there, you see how close the gravestones actually are to the edge of the shoreline.
So beyond that fence, that's the drop off, right? Where those small gravestones are leaning up, right?
Right, so when you walk over by where those are, it drops off really steep, straight down. And that empty area where it was before, there were graves there before. There were caskets there before. And less than a year ago, I was talking to the president of the board of the cemetery. She said less than a year ago, there were caskets jutting out of the shoreline there. And that's something that they had been they constantly have to cover up. And it's just a Band-Aid that they have to keep reinforcing for those graves that are so close to the shoreline.
Yeah, we got a good picture there of just how close they are. So you mentioned they've had to move graves. How many?
So there's over 30. I know that. I know the president was also telling me she and other board members were tasked with telling these over 30 families that their loved one's grave had to be moved to a different area within the cemetery.
All right, you mentioned decades, but this history goes back a long. This cemetery's been there a long time is what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
Had they had problems way back in the past?
Right, so the more recent issue in the past like 10, 15 years has to do with that rain runoff. But before that, going back to the early 1900s, so over 100 years ago, there was actual bodies and caskets slipping out into the river.
To the river.
So it became an even bigger issue
Sure.
then. So that is obviously something you want to avoid at all costs. But even seeing the caskets jutting out and seeing them out on the shoreline
Sure.
is enough to worry.
Right. So we mentioned the money that's involved here. So how do they go about? Do they have a plan to try and raise this extra $1.5 million to complete the shoring up, if you will, of this site?
So they have a little bit less than half now secured from the state, but obviously that's not enough to complete this long-term plan. So they've just been trying to get the word out, try to crowd fund this extra $1.5 million, and are really just relying on the community to come up with that money. And they're envisioning it to be not only a space to visit loved ones, but also a nice space to just walk near by the river. It's a public open space, and they're really envisioning that for its future.
All right, Emily, thanks so much. More on this coming up on Action 2 News at 5 o'clock. Appreciate it.